Have you ever been so happy that you just wanted to shout it from the rooftops? Well, today we're going to talk about a little donkey who learned the hard way that sometimes it's better to celebrate quietly. This is the story of Eddie the donkey and his wise friend Jack the jackal. Our story begins in a small fishing village where a skinny little donkey named Eddie lived. His owner, a fisherman named Ben, was often so busy with his nets and boats that he would forget to give Eddie enough to eat. Poor Eddie was always hungry, and his ribs showed through his dull coat. He was so weak he could barely carry the small loads Ben put on his back. Eddie wasn't alone though. He had a best friend, a clever jackal named Jack. Jack was a resourceful creature of the night, and he couldn't stand to see his friends suffering. One evening, as the moon began to rise, Jack came to Eddie's small, rickety stable. "Eddie," he whispered, "I can't watch you starve like this. Tonight, we're going on an adventure. I know a place where we can find all the food we could ever want." Eddie's ears perked up. An adventure for food sounded like the best thing he had ever heard. With a hopeful bray, he followed Jack out of the village. They moved like shadows through the quiet streets, their paws and hooves making soft sounds on the cobblestones. Jack led the way, his nose twitching as he sniffed the air. After a short walk, they arrived at the edge of the village, right next to a large fenced-in field. The air was filled with a sweet, earthy smell. Eddie's eyes widened. Sticking out of the ground in neat rows were thousands of bright orange carrots. It was a carrot field, and it was a paradise for a hungry donkey. "Is this it, Jack?" Eddie asked, his voice trembling with excitement. "This is it," Jack confirmed with a grin. "The farmer is a heavy sleeper and his guards are lazy. But we must be quiet." Jack easily slipped under the fence, and Eddie, being so skinny, managed to squeeze through a gap. That night was magical. They ate and ate until their bellies were round and full. The carrots were sweet, crunchy, and absolutely delicious. For the first time in a long time, Eddie didn't feel the familiar pang of hunger. He felt happy and satisfied. This midnight feast became their new routine. Every night, Jack and Eddie would sneak out to the carrot field. They were always careful, always quiet, and never got caught. With each passing day, Eddie started to change. He was no longer the skinny, weak donkey he once was. His coat became shiny, his eyes brightened, and he filled out with healthy muscle. Ben, his owner, was amazed. Eddie could now carry heavy loads of fish from the shore to the market without any trouble at all. Ben was so pleased that he even started giving Eddie a little extra hay, not knowing about his secret midnight snacks. Eddie's life had completely turned around, and it was all thanks to his friend Jack and their secret carrot field. He felt strong, healthy, and incredibly happy. One night after another fantastic meal of carrots, Eddie felt a strange new feeling bubbling up inside him. It was a feeling of pure, unfiltered joy. The moon was full and bright, the air was cool, and his belly was full of sweet carrots. He felt so wonderful that he wanted to express it. He wanted to sing. Jack, Eddie said, a huge grin on his face. I feel so amazing. I think I'm going to sing a song to celebrate. Jack, who was just about to slip back under the fence, stopped dead in his tracks. He turned to Eddie with a look of alarm. Sing. Eddie, are you serious? That is a terrible idea. Why? Eddie asked, confused. I'm happy. Donkeys sing when they're happy. It's what we do. Jack shook his head urgently. Listen to me, Eddie, your voice. Well, it's not exactly a nightingale's song. It's loud and it's unique. If you sing out here, you'll wake the farmer and his guards. We'll be in huge trouble. But Eddie wasn't listening. He was too caught up in his own happiness. Nonsense, Jack. A little song won't hurt anyone. I need to let this feeling out. He took a deep breath, ready to let out a mighty bray. Eddie, no. Think about what you're doing. Jack pleaded. We have a good thing going here. Don't ruin it. Please, just be quiet and let's go home. Eddie just scoffed. You worry too much, Jack. You're a jackal. You're supposed to be brave. What's the worst that could happen? He was convinced that his happiness gave him the right to be loud. He felt that his friend was just being a killjoy. Seeing that he couldn't convince his stubborn friend, Jack's clever mind went into self-preservation mode. He sighed. All right, Eddie, if you absolutely must sing, then do me one favor. At least wait until I've jumped over the fence and am safely on the other side. That way, I'll have a head start if someone comes running. Fine, fine, Eddie said impatiently, rolling his eyes. Go on, get to safety, you scaredy cat. Jack didn't need to be told twice. He quickly leaped over the fence and hid in the shadows, watching his foolish friend. Once Jack was clear, Eddie took the deepest breath he had ever taken. He threw his head back and let out the loudest, most ear-splitting bray you could ever imagine. Hee-haw! Hee-haw! The sound shattered the silence of the night, echoing across the fields and through the village. It was not a song, it was an alarm bell. Inside a small hut near the field, a guard who had been dozing off was jolted awake. What in the world was that? He yelled, grabbing a thick wooden stick and rushing outside. His eyes scanned the field, and it didn't take him long to spot the source of the noise. There, in the middle of the carrot patch, was a donkey, looking very pleased with himself. The guard saw the half-eaten carrots and the mess Eddie had made. His face turned red with anger. So, you're the thief who's been stealing our carrots. The guard roared as he ran towards Eddie. Eddie's happy expression vanished, replaced by one of pure terror. He had been so lost in his song that he hadn't thought about the consequences. Now, a very angry man with a very big stick was running straight for him. He tried to run, but it was too late. The guard was fast. Whack! The heavy stick came down hard on Eddie's back. Whack! It came down again and again. Eddie cried out in pain, a very different sound from his happy song. The guard beat him all the way to the fence, shouting at him to never come back. Hurt, bruised, and terrified. Eddie finally scrambled under the fence and limped away from the field of his former happiness. Every part of his body ached. He had never felt so much pain and regret in his life. Jack was waiting for him in the shadows. He looked at Eddie's bruised back and sad, drooping ears. He didn't rush to comfort him or say it would be okay. He just looked at his friend with a knowing expression. As Eddie limped beside him on the long, painful walk home, Jack finally broke the silence. He didn't yell, he didn't scold. He just said two simple words that hit Eddie harder than any stick. "I told you so." Eddie had nothing to say back. His friend had warned him. He had tried to stop him. But Eddie had been too full of pride and happiness to listen to reason. He had let a moment of joy cloud his judgment, and now he was paying the painful price. He had not only lost their secret source of food, but also learned a very difficult lesson. And that's the moral of our story today. Always think before you act. It's wonderful to feel happy and joyful, but it's important to consider the consequences of our actions, especially when they might affect ourselves and others. A moment of thought can save you a world of trouble. Eddie learned that being wise is just as important as being happy. What do you think? Have you ever done something without thinking and regretted it later? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales and lessons. See you next time.